Here is the breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. The European Union's ambassador to Ukraine accused Russia for launching its largest ever aerial attack on the war, striking the Ukrainian cabinet building in Kiev with a cluster missile. Cluster missile is prohibited by the United Nations in several times. The attack killed at least 4 people, including 1 infant, though the building narrowly avoided total destruction because of missile did not fully detonate. In response, Donald Trump has signaled readiness for a new wave of sanctions against Russia. Meanwhile, Moscow dismissed the threat, stating the sanctions would have no effect whatsoever. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SATV's International Affairs from inside the country and around the globe. My name is Rashid Kanchan. I will be your host. I have a very distinguished panelist today. I have Dr. Imadur Rahman. He is the humble managing director of Bangladesh Satellite Company Limited and a very distinguished speaker in public programs, televisions, radios, and he is a very good columnist as well. I have our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho, and of course we have our White House correspondent Norman Flood Barnes joining from Washington DC. Let me begin with the international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Pantho. What are the latest you have, sir?
Very good afternoon to you, Mr. Kanchan, and of course a warm welcome back to Mr. Imadur Rahman in our studio. Good morning to Norman and good afternoon to our viewers. Let me begin with something that has taken a turn. We see almost 19 killed in a protest against corruption in Nepal. Of course, this came because of a government ban on social media, and of course you know how the Gen Z's voice cannot be silenced. And of course, in addition, we see France's Prime Minister Francis Bayrou losing a vote of confidence on Parliament, and of course he now has to tender his resignation to President Emmanuel Macron, according to a broadcaster BFM TV. And in addition, we see the flotilla that was headed for Gaza from Tunisia being attacked by a drone. This is well beyond the sea that connects Gaza and Tunisia, but already they're facing retaliatory events before arriving at the coast of Gaza.
Excellent, sir. Very active situation around the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, keep your eyes on SATV. In last 1 hour, we will try to give you the glimpse of what's happening right this moment. Let me connect with Ambassador Norman Flood Barnes, who is joining from Washington DC. I know it's a very early morning there, but there are something going on. Norman, you need to share with our humble viewers, please.
Good morning from Washington, D.C. And yes, indeed, there is something going on. We are calling the government is calling Operation Midway Bliss. It has initiated in Chicago, and it's going to be extended to Boston. The immigration department has initiated and started their movement towards arresting illegal aliens in Chicago. Last night there was several arrests made inside of Chicago. Boston is also on schedule, and the people are not happy about it, to put it mildly. Also yesterday, the Supreme Court gave a partial ruling that allowed the immigration agents to do roving patrols in Los Angeles. So that is going to take precedent all over the United States, meaning roving patrols will now be utilized by the Trump administration to go inside of sanctuary cities and democratic cities to basically use the idea of we are looking for illegal criminal people who are not supposed to be in the United States, and from that other things is going to occur. The other issue is another biggest thing. There's a video came out yesterday about a illegal alien in Charlotte, North Carolina, stabbed a immigrant from Ukraine on the bus. It was filmed live, and apparently this also helps the Trump administration in their quest, because this guy was supposedly, he was a criminal. and he was also an illegal alien, and he was not supposed to be here. He was supposed to be in jail. So they are going to utilize this one video and this murder that was occurred on live TV, and they're basically going to use that as ammunition to justify the movement of this roving patrols.
All right, Norman, thank you very much. You can see in the western part of the world where there is night right now, but still something is going on there. We'll ask you more questions. Please listen to our very distinguished panelist today, Dr. Imadur Rahman, very gentleman. I want to ask you about the first breaking news I have read out in the beginning of the show. How significant is Russia's latest aerial assault on Kiev, and what does it reveal about the current phase of the war?
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks for inviting me again here. So this is a very interesting shift, actually. For the first time, Russia has used, they've been showing their capabilities, and this time they are going in an all-out assault using around over 800 drones and missiles and attacking central governmental areas in Kiev. And here the changes this time is that there are more attacks on the energy assets. There are more attacks on the civilian locations, and then they have used very projectile heavy and high frequency equipments, actually war machinery for those ground offensives. And this is gonna be very challenging for Ukrainian army, even though Ukrainian army has intercepted much of the barrages, but there is a limit, and I think they are almost at the limit. And then considering the other issues, that winter is coming very soon, and by this time, if the capabilities of the Ukrainian army goes to a challenging situation, then there will be a lot of challenges for the Ukrainian army, and a lot of head-on advances for the Russian army.
Sir, in a short answer, do you think, or do you find any hope that escalation will be more intensive, or the peace negotiation will put a right milestone on this process?
So currently the diplomacy has stalled completely, right? And we have seen that President Putin has visited China, and then he came back, and then he immediately went into the assault. So I don't see diplomacy playing any role in a very near term.
You are a little bit frustrated. I can guess from your answer. I want to go to our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam-Panto. As I read out in response, Donald Trump has signaled readiness for a new wave of sanctions against Russia. Meanwhile, Moscow dismissed the threat, stating the sanctions would no effect whatsoever. Do you think, sir, Donald Trump signaling the second phase of sanctions on Russia, what concrete measures are likely to follow at this stage?
Thank you for the question. I understand that it's of high significance in regards to the Ukraine and Russia war. Donald Trump, he has been trying over the last several weeks in order to get the both leaders of Ukraine and Russia to host a bilateral meeting, understand what the differences are. But in this case, the aggressor remains to be Vladimir Putin, the leader of Russia, and we've seen him at the SCO summit. We understand that he has allies which include China and also in India. So these allies are supportive of the Russia's economy, which Donald Trump seems to trying to impair to slow down his offensive of Ukraine. But if you look at Viktor Orban, who's another leader of a nation over there, Hungary, if I'm not wrong, and he says that Ukraine to be divided up by 3 zones, and there should be a demilitarized zone, which is now the eastern Ukraine flank captured by the Russian army. So we can definitely see that a signal is coming where a new border dot lines could be drawn, depending on how the entire world reacts to this issue. But Volodymyr Zelensky, leader of Ukraine, does not see likewise. He sees that this is a blatant aggression into Ukraine, and of course he's got the coalition of the willing, which is headed by the UK government, including many countries in Europe, and they are all in one pact. They understand that if Ukraine cannot be spared territorially, maybe it could have a spill-out effect on other member nations, NATO member nations who are surrounding Russia. We know that Finland has a long border with Russia. So these are the rhetorics and the narratives that we are seeing today. But once again, Donald Trump, the leader of America, United States of America, even after him trying to discuss with Vladimir Putin, it didn't fare any kind of positive reinforcement, if not positive outcomes, towards ending this fighting between Ukraine and Russia.
Right, sir. According to Shamsul Alam Pantho, our international affairs commentator, we see some problems with the Donald Trump. He's feeling isolated after the SEO summit in Tianjin, China. We see President Putin is pushing his military to intensify the war in Ukraine. That means President Putin is not worried anymore about the sanctions, about the peace negotiations, and he's not allowing anyone to further negotiations table. Rather than he is very aggressive to go for attack. Mr. Norman, what would be your views on this stake? Do you see President Trump is becoming isolated gradually?
The Trump administration and the president is becoming less relevant in regards to this situation and the conflict in Ukraine. One, because of the changes, the issues going on in the United States, his favorability poll is being affected. Europe is also in a situation, particularly we're looking at France now, is trying to figure out what they're doing with the government. The UK has issues with their government. Russia is not concerned about any sanctions or anything that the Western, led by the United States, can do to them. They feel that we have our own issues that we need to deal with, and we are not in a position to enforce any type of sanctions, any type of measures. And the NATO-led group is now starting to become an issue, a concern in Europe because of the economy. As you said, the winter is coming on, the weather's changing, the energy crisis is starting to shift. The alternative deals are being made in terms of energy. Europe, India, other places, Brazil, they're all talking now about how we get through the winter and how we'll get energy. And Russia is in the driver's seat right now in terms of dealing with things, including the situation in Venezuela. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves, but they also have ties in with Russia. So it appears that there has been a shift. There's somewhat of a backfire in terms of the tariffs. The tariffs have basically united these other countries. They start talking about alternatives. So stay tuned. Things are happening.
All right, Mr. Norman, let me come back to the studio. Here I have a very high-profile panelist today. Sir, how effective are Western sanctions so far in curbing Russia's war capacity, and what new tools might be European Union and United States deploy, because the primary negotiation deals has failed and President Putin is getting more strength from his allies like China, North Korea, Iran, Turkey, even in India, to escalate the attack on Ukrainian zones, even in the parliament.
Yeah, as our esteemed colleague from Washington DC mentioned, without any stronger global coordination, the effect of the sanctions will plateau. It will saturate at some point of time, and that is what has happened. The Russian economy and the energy revenues have suffered greatly, but it hasn't. The sanction hasn't been able to, cripple it completely, the war machinery and so on. So that's a big challenge that I clearly see. And also, you see, there is one big issue is that due to the energy needs, and the winter is coming, so the need of these energy needs in different countries will become even higher compared to the summertime. So Russia will always adapt to the sanction rules and regulations and go via third party and the third countries and so on. So those are really challenging issues for, let's say, US and the NATO to handle actually.
So
and
do you think Russia has adapted with the sanctions issues like this?
Greatly. They have been really clever, and they have really adapted to this, and that has given them kind of like a sanctuary. That
right.
So what the NATO and EU and US can do is to tighten the enforcement, to make sure that all those third party business and the sales and so on, to basically what we call the shadow fleets, right? And then to basically to enforce on the sanctions on them. And then of course one way is actually to introduce tighter measures on the third countries who are using those services, and
right.
that we see on India and China.
I totally agree with Dr. Imadur Rahman. Russia has created some proofs. What is that? Sanction proof, attack proof, alliance proof. Russia is doing really well. I want to come to our international affairs commentator. After Putin's recent visit to Beijing, how deep is the China-Russia partnership, and could it evolve into a formal alliance because India has endorsed this relationship?
Thank you so much for quite so significant question. You see, China and Russia, they share a type of governance, communism if you would call it. But even aside from that, they also have a large border that they share with one another. And today, the entire world seems to be attacked, or if not, the US seems to be attacking Russia on the entire world stage, is due to their aggression towards Ukraine, which is a land that is historically theirs before the fall of the Soviet Union. And in my understanding, at the SCO summit, we did see how Russia and Russia's Vladimir Putin and his counterpart Xi Jinping, and how they were communicating between one another, the power stunts, the show of posturing, how they could be further allied in upcoming decades. There is debates and arguments regarding the emergence of China in the global governance throughout the entire world. We know that during the first industrial revolution, it was America who had led the entire world, and of course there was subsequent World War I and II. But in the 21st century, I am very opinionated on the fact that China is an emerging power, and it has emerged in to the likes onto the same plateau as United States of America. And today such a relationship between Russia and China could not only bolster each other's economies, but they could both ignore what the US is planning to do, which is tariffing both of these nations into a place where they cannot recover economically. So
right.
Such a notion does set for a ground for a not extended World War III situation, if you would call it.
I think you have given a guideline to ask a question for me to Norman. Norman, you see, Russia started to face the sanctions during the Boris Yeltsin regime in 1991. So far I can remember, I was a school student. But after almost 35 years, Russia has proved that US sanctions and NATO sanctions is not working to stop Russia to invade countries. Russia invaded Georgia in 3 days. Russia invaded Crimea in 1 day. Russia is now taking control of Ukraine, who has the ambition to be the member of NATO. Now NATO is silence. American allies are silence. Even the Foreign Secretary of Donald Trump administration, Marco Rubio, is quite silent. And his defense secretary is quite silent. Only one man is talking, that is Donald Trump. He is seeking for another peace negotiation meeting opportunity. What is your position on that? As our international affairs commentator says, Russia and China alliance could make a strong position against all the US alliances.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. I first like to start off by saying history appears to be repeating itself. We failed to take lessons from the past, and as a consequence, things turn to repeat themselves. The situation with Russia is one that they feel that they have the upper hand They have the offensive. They have the advantage. They have the ability now with this new perceived union between China, India, South Korea, and other countries, including the BRICS, that they are basically unstoppable. They can do what they want to do. They can do how they want to do it. The war right now is in a situation where they are going to dictate the terms when the war ends, how it ends. So Ukraine is not in a good situation. Europe is not in a good situation, and of course, the United States is not in a position to have any type of credible influence and impact on the outcomes of this situation going on. So we have to sit here and observe how this thing is going to play out. There's communications. Even I want to talk about Pakistan. Pakistan has made a deal with the United States yesterday for a factory, a refinery in the United in Pakistan to refine precious minerals. In turn, they are looking to have their tariffs reduced or
Right,
eliminated
Mr. Norman.
or
Norman,
somehow
I
compromised.
apologize for two back-to-back breaking news right this moment. Number one is there are 4 Hamas operatives ambushed Israeli soldiers stationed on the outskirts of Gaza City, and they returned to their outpost following overnight duty. The attack resulted in significant casualties. On the other side, there is a huge breaking news in Qatar. Ravi, which is called Al Khail, who escaped from a British Columbia prison 3 years ago, is reportedly arrested in Qatar. RCMP are yet to confirm the arrest. Details are coming in SATV's newsroom. I'll definitely go for it. Before I end the issue Russia, Ukraine and global security, I want to do my last question to Dr. Imadur Rahman, who is very knowledgeable on this subject, who has the keen interest on this. Sir, how might NATO respond to the increased Russia-China coordination, particularly after the Beijing summit, because it seems Putin is more stronger?
So NATO has to go for some sort of deterrent policies, like forward deployment. Also to go for to enhance these rapid response forces and so on. That essentially means that you need money, and then what you do is that you go back to this Cold War policy that every NATO nation has to spend 3% of the GDP. So you will see that probably NATO is going in that direction. One way of containing China will be that NATO will go for announcing China as the decisive enabler for Russia and so on and so forth. So probably we will also see this kind of reactions from NATO. A spillover will be that we will see that there will be a lot of Indo-Pacific transatlantic cooperations. So we will see more and more cooperations in the eastern part of the world. We will see more and more on the New Zealand, Australia, in that region, Pacific, that part we will see. And then we will also see that at the same time, we will also see that in the last few years, due to some of the policies from few months, policies of the Trump administration, where the transatlantic, the Western global alliance was a little bit weakened. And I think now we will see that NATO will get back to that.
Very articulated,
and work together.
Very articulated, the speculation, sir. Before I transfer our topics into Israel, Palestine and Middle East, I just want to ask our international affairs commentator Shamsul Alam Panto, what are the regional and international implications of the deadly attack near Jerusalem and Israel's subsequent strikes on Gaza? I have seen in ILTV, Israel television, state-owned television, that they did not allow a single media event to visit the place. When Netanyahu, with his allies, his cabinets, has visited the place, no media was allowed.
Thanks for the question. We're quite so significant. I'll try to answer. Before the Hiroshima bombing, there was aircraft dispersing leaflets into the city, telling the residents that there will be a big, massive strike. Similar event has happened in the Gaza Strip. People in Gaza have seen leaflets and pieces of paper falling from the sky, telling them to evacuate before further military escalation takes place. Of course, defiance of the Gaza people. They are not moving 1 inch from what they call and what they claim as their home territory. And not only so, we have an international flotilla, a collection of 20 ships that are arriving at the Gaza Strip in an attempt to break this naval blockade that the IDF has conducted over the years. And of course, Italian MP Arturo Scotto is to join this flotilla. Previously, activists such as Greta Thunberg was also there. The IDF had taken seizure of the ship and then had every one of the activists temporarily deported back to their home nations. So this time around, it is quite the scale that they have brought to the Gaza waters. So it's early to say what will happen, but this time I'm pretty sure the IDF should feel overwhelmed with such an overwhelming response by the international community.
Right, sir. Let me ask Norman a typical question. How the regional powers like Iran, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Qatar positioning themselves amid these rising tensions, because Israel has already crossed its limit. Israel is crossing its limit, and Israel will definitely cross the limit because Israel is powered by United States of America. Question to Norman.
It's been amazing to hear that the countries in the Gulf states has basically been silent, almost complicit in the actions that's taken so far. I have no idea exactly why they have not initiated any type of response or even understanding exactly what's going on right now. The United States is, yes, backing Israel. Israel is in the process of flattening Gaza City and moving on with their plan. We have talked, the United States has spoken with the country about Israel, about future plans after that. It will include the Arab states. So right now we're just waiting to see how this thing plays out. What is going to happen with Hamas? Right now, it looks like Israel is going to prevail.
All right, Mr. Norman, before I go to Dr. Imadur Rahman, I just want to share with you a breaking news right this moment. Actor Raymond Cruz arrested in Los Angeles. Raymond Cruz, famous for his portrayal of Taco Salamanca in Breaking Bad, very famous serial, was arrested on September in Los Angeles for alleged misbehavior. The incident reportedly involved in spraying to a woman while he was washing his car in his garden. Let us come back to the studio with Dr. Imadur Rahman. Sir, could the escalating violence in Israel-Palestine spiral into a border Middle East conflict? Do you think, or do you speculate that other countries may engage with this because Israel has already crossed the limit?
So there is a real danger on this aspect, and we have seen that the Gulf states and the EU countries have been providing a lot of feedback, a lot of warning on this, that it can really like spill over beyond what we see in Gaza. You have Hezbollah just on the north, and they are continuously, there are exchanges between Israeli army and the Hezbollah. You have Houthis in the Red Sea, and this area that we know that's been ongoing, off and on and so on. And then of course, the live broadcast of all the genocide that has been going on, it has a big impact on the population in the Gulf states. So for the Gulf governments actually to take care of this political fallout with their people will also be very challenging. And we have already seen that UAE has given a warning actually to their population that any kind of meetings and so on and so forth are not allowed and so on. So I clearly see that there is a big danger that this conflict will be, this situation will be actually really spilled over beyond Palestine. One thing that is that the mere feeling of a person on the street that there is a huge humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza will also have a huge effect on the on the man on the street in the Gulf states.
I'm really impressed. Very successful tech professional is very updated on the international affairs. Sir, in just one comment, there is a proverb in Western media that if 3H, Hezbollah, Houthis and Hamas is silent, White House consider State Department to go for more intel on this area to save Israel. I just want to have one comment from you before I go to the break. Do you think United States is doing shameless support to Israel?
We'll see how shameless they are in the upcoming UNGA, as the world will definitely call out this massive issue that's been running for so long, and how the United States have supported Israel. This is what people are going to condemn, and most nations are going to come out in total condemnation.
I really appreciate, sir. Dear audience, I apologize for a short commercial break, but I promise I'll come back soon. Has intensified tariffs up to 145% on Chinese imports and 32% on Taiwanese goods, excluding semiconductors. Yes, compromised semiconductors issue, also targeting nations like India over energy relations with Russia. My first question should go to Dr. Imadur Rahman. He's a tech professional, but he's very concerned about the international affairs. Sir, how is President Trump's trade policy, particularly tariffs on China, Taiwan, India, reshaping the global markets, and how Bangladesh can share the advantages from this turmoil?
Yeah, so we have seen some very drastic measures from US. So 34% tariff on China, and then around very surprising, around 32% reciprocal tariff on Taiwanese goods except semiconductor, and then a sweeping 50% on India. So a few things are happening. So this is due to this. A lot of the businesses are going out of these countries. That is one opportunity for Bangladesh, obviously, and I think it's a very high time for us. We don't have much of the time window, a very short time window by this time to provide ease of doing businesses in Bangladesh and providing proper facilities and proper policy infrastructure in Bangladesh will be really important. Here one thing also is that what is happening is that when many of the businesses from these countries, China, Taiwan and India, when they are not able to access the US market anymore, then they are also looking for alternative markets, and this is also good in a sense. So new markets are being developed, and
so Bangladesh can take advantages from this.
That's a really
that's
big
very important. The
for us.
policymakers of Bangladesh who are engaged with the export business to Western countries can listen it very carefully and can do favor to the country to increase our export and take the advantages of this. We have Norman on the line, and I know it is 4:37 a.m. in the morning, and I apologize for my last question to Norman. What role is the White House playing in coordinating with NATO and EU on Russia related sanctions? America is doing it alone, or it is taking its allies on the plate? Mr. Norman, this is your last question today.
Yes, as I mentioned before, NATO right now is being challenging. Several members are dealing with their own governments. The Russian Federation is viewing this as a weakness. The United States is pushing sanctions. The sanctions, in my opinion, will have a very minimal, if any, effect on the movement of global affairs.
Mr. Norman, thank you very much. I wish you a very, very good day today, because we will have you again tomorrow. And there are so many things happening in White House, Oval Office, Senate, Congress, and also in different states of the United States of America. We'll again see you tomorrow. Let me again come back to our international affairs commentator, Shamsul Alam Pantho. Sir, how is the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, SCO, navigating the US-China tariff war, especially with India caught in between?
Important question. Of course, there was an extended period of time regarding the tariffs on China up until November. But I think that is set to be changed as we see the leaders of China, Russia and of course India were taking place alongside other respective nations. We've seen Iran as well. The President Masoud Pezeshkian, who was there in attendance. We see Kim Jong-un arriving into China in his armored train. These are all optics and narratives which the US fears. It's not only just the Russian attack on Ukraine that they are trying to quell. It's also how this new steadfastness of China that they see as a threat in my viewing. But if you look at the internal discussions inside American politics, Republicans versus the Democrats, and how the Republicans are now worried with Donald Trump's practices of silencing the Democrats in various nations, various states. If you look at their aggression towards Venezuela, country rich in oil reserves, a country which has close ties with Russia and other oil exporting nations like Saudi Arabia. Pentagon Chief Pete Hegseth has visited Puerto Rico on Monday as the U.S. escalated military operations in Venezuela. Of course, the U.S. cites that it is always to stop the drug cartels. But my question would be, would you need 7 destroyers set in the Caribbean to quell such nominal issue, or is there any other grander issue at stake which the America sees interest in? Now, if you look online, we see that when America discovers any kind of oil reserve any place in the world, they claim that that place needs freedom.
Excellent.
And that is the motto behind their aggression. You see Iraq, you see Iran, you see how their dependency on oil is, and that is definitely a big issue in America, oil being the biggest issue.
I'm so amazed, such a commentator we have got, and I'm sure you will give us more details from the spot of United Nations General Assembly this time, because you are going to cover that from the spot, and we will connect you every day to get the latest update. I again want to come to Dr. Imadur Rahman, my very favorite gentleman. He collects the information, converts into knowledge, then converts into wisdom. I love to hear from you. How might Trump's approach to Russia, balancing sanctions with reported energy cooperation talks, affect US credibility among allies? Because, sir, I am concerned because Bangladesh is a fuel importing country, fully fuel importing country. No production we have except few gas.
So Trump's administration's policies, what is termed the dual track policy. So there is a strict sanctions, and then there is also some leverages in let's say energy sector or rare earth material and so on. This has created erosion of trust among the among the allies. It has also created that the allies are actually hesitated. They are in hesitation actually. What does US really want? And there is no consistency in terms of the policy and so on. And all of these things are actually creating a kind of like international strategic ambiguity that nobody knows exactly what's going to happen and so on. And this will actually the way I see it is that we will actually see a huge impact of this in the international trade. We will really see that inflation will go higher. We will really see that market will be more volatile. And then, as you have mentioned, that we have seen that that we are actually largely an energy importer country. So in that way, we will see a huge effect in our economy in near future.
Bangladesh should keep a very high priority concentration on this issue to be dependent on fuel.
This is a big question, and I think we need it deserves a much longer time for discussion. But I guess we should really look into alternative sources of energy, more into the green energies, more into solar power, more into hydropower and so on. So I think we really need to look into those, and this could be the only way for us actually to
exactly. Bangladesh must have
get
the special concentration on this issue. Ladies and gentlemen, before I go to the break, I again apologize, but I will give you a bonus space. Breaking news: Thailand Supreme Court has ruled that former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra must serve a 1-year prison sentence, overturning his previous arrangement to stay in a hospital instead. This marks a significant setback for a family long influential in Thai politics, and we will again discuss about the Nepal's issue where Gen Z are speaking. They are speaking very, very clearly to the Kathmandu establishment. We will come back soon.
কার সাথে প্রেম করছে? আমি এখন মা হতে চলেছে।
চিনেছি তোমারে আকারে প্রকারে, দিনের আলো রাতের আধারে।
কোন বাসায় শুধু দুজন থাকে, দরজা জানালা ছাদ কিছুই থাকে না? পা। পায়ের নুপুর। ছন্দ। মনে হচ্ছে কি ছু দিয়ে জাদু মন্ত্র। এক্স্যাক্টলি।
পায়ের নুপুর আমার।
অরিক্স স্পেশাল সেলিব্রিটি শো তারকার ঝলক দেখবেন প্রতি শুক্রবার রাত 9:30 মিনিটে।
ভালোবাসা একবার তুমি বউ কইয়া ডাকো।
হ্যাঁ গো,
আর কত দূর?
আরে আমি তো ফিডের গাড়ির লগে।
তোমার গরু হাঁস মুরগি মাছ তো অনশন শুরু কইরা দিছে।
কি কও? অনশন শুরু কইরা দিছে কেডা? হাঁস মুরগি মাছ।
আরে ওগো মতি গতি দেখা মনে হইতাছে এসএফি ছাড়া কিছুই খাইবো না।
হ্যাঁ গো, এসএফিটার খবর ওরা জানলো কেমনে?
আরে ভালো জিনিসের খবর ছড়াতে কি আর মাইক লাগে? খবর ভাসে বাতাসে বাতাসে।
আরে দেখো,
Everybody says India is in trouble because of tariff. Russia is in trouble because of sanctions. And Middle East is also trouble because United States is supporting shamelessly to Israel. My question is 145% tariff has been imposed to China, but China is not giving any statement back. I want to get this statement kind of respond from Dr. Imadur Rahman, because he is a tech guy, but he is very concerned about the international affairs. Sir, what does China's retaliatory tariff strategy signal about Beijing's long-term economic and geopolitical approach?
I want to start with this, that they have taken it really in a very political way. So first of all, what they started in China, they started to pass the message of national defiance and national unity. They started putting the historical resilience, all the historical framing, the Chinese nationhood and everything else related to the surrounding that. And with that, actually, the Chinese government tried to bring the whole nation in one point. Hand in hand with that, they went for the trade sovereignty. That's very important because they want to go out of, move out of the depending on the US market. And I just saw the statistic that the year-on-year growth on the ASEAN market, the Southeast Asian countries, from the Chinese products was 22.5% compared to August 2024 and August 2025. So this is a big signal that really looking for alternative markets and reducing the need on American market and so on. With that, actually, one thing also they need is very important for them is institutionally they need to build resilience in their own economy. They need to look more into internal market, internal consumers and so on, and how they can provide more incentive for the companies and the consumers actually to consume it locally. Where it's also more than 1 billion people and very large middle class. So China is doing all of these together. With that, at the same time, building the story of national resilience and unity, and that is why they are very quiet. And I think they are doing the
Exactly,
real
sir.
stuff.
From the entire show, I picked two very important things from your statement. One is Russia is proved on sanctions and China is trying to be self-dependent. On the other side, if we talk about another big country like India, they are also not carrying 50% tariff from America. Sir, I want to get your feedback on this because you have a very keen study on this tariff and trade issues and geopolitical issues.
Well, America had made sure that old foes became friends between China and India, and today there is a growing pattern amongst the 70 nations that America has tariffed, which the court in America says that Donald Trump's movement is hence illegal. His imposition of tariff on other foreign nations is deemed illegal by the US court. So this is one win for the court and another loss for the US administration, or of course Donald Trump's administration. But I want to bring to everyone's attention a breaking news which has taken to storm. The Gen Z protest is intensifying in Nepal. PM KP Sharma's Oli's private residence is set on fire while international flights have been cancelled. Various ministers are being airlifted away to safer locations in Nepal. I'm pretty sure you can remember what happened in August of 2024 in Bangladesh.
Do you find similarity?
There is massive similarity where the ordinance and the government of Nepal has taken its people for granted. And once the establishment or any establishment in the world does that, I'm pretty sure a revolution takes place. A similar situation happened in Bangladesh. It took us 36 days to arrive at that kind of conclusion. We look at Indonesia. A member of working society was murdered by the enforcement. It was run over by a car. It has sparked major island-wide, nationwide protests. Today, it's not the death of any one single person in Nepal. It is the state-run ability to allow social media access to the numerous pollution.
I apologize, sir. Do you have any speculation that any other country might be the threat of Gen Zs?
Thanks for the question. To my understanding, I realize that India being our very closest neighborhood, and their country is, it has a long-running prime minister. I'm pretty sure it's his third term, if not fourth. And the southern Indian states, the Tamil Nadu states, they don't see eye to eye with all the rhetorics, narratives and rules and regulations with the BJP, which is currently running in India. So I wouldn't want to see something of such a sort happening anywhere else. But the people have raised their voice, and I'm sure when the Gen Z is to raise their voice, it is a matter of concern in our region, especially because now it is taking a shape of a pattern.
Right, sir. I don't want to quit the show until I ask a question to the right person in the right time for the right result. We have a tech professional who has the experience to work in different capacities in different countries, in different multinationals. Sir, we are depending on our RMG #1 for export market, but still the foreign medias are telling us, why don't your government concentrating on tech, on fintech, on homegrown technology to export this, because we have still the 7 SOP, that is 7 USP, unique selling point, that is cheap labor, electricity is available, gas is available, land is available, good investment return. I want your advice to the government, to the young generation, to the entrepreneurs, how to make tech as an export product from Bangladesh.
Very good question. To me, the main problem is we really need to create the critical competence in the country. So you see, like if I take a little bit longer, many years ago, it was the electricity infrastructure that decided whether a country is going forward or not. Then we came into the information infrastructure, ICT infrastructure. If this is on a certain level, then you actually proceed or not. And then very soon we are going into the third era, which is the intelligence infrastructure. The more AI you have inbuilt in your systems and so on, the better you will be positioned, you will be in terms of trade and business and economy and so on. So first and foremost, what we really need to do is that we need to create relevant educational courses and bachelor degree and master's degrees in the universities, so that we create the competences. Without competences, nothing will move forward. So that should be the starting point for government. And then number 2 is the ease of doing business. We really need to make sure that a very good initiative from BIDA is that an investor can come and do a number of processes in one place. So these kind of reforms are really needed. Without this, if an investor or an entrepreneur comes and then he needs to go to 15 offices just to start his or her business, then nothing will flourish. So that's a big reform that we really need to happen. It's happening now, which is a very good,
very positive guidelines. I really appreciate you, sir. Before we end the show, as our international commentators were saying about the Nepal, here is the result has come, ladies and gentlemen. Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has resigned as anti-corruption protest escalate. We have concluded the show with some development in Nepal's going on, but I have one more things to share with you. Leo Tolstoy, very famous renowned Russian novelist and philosopher, author of War and Peace and Anna Karenina, he has birthday today. On the other side, there is a popular Indian Bollywood superstar known for his versatile action in acting in action, drama and comedy, Akshay Kumar, he has birthday today. From International Affairs show of SATV, we want to convey our good wishes to them. And today is International Day of Protect Education from Attack. Today is 9th September. We wish no child should risk death to learn. Attack on schools surged by 44%. United Nations has declared this day special. I really appreciate both of you gentlemen. You have done extremely well, and we have given so much of breaking news in this show. Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you tomorrow.